All right, man, I wanted to know the following to wrap up the Rock in Rio topic. What did you use on stage? Your setup?
Man, actually, it's what I use, right? In my day-to-day on the road.
Do you use an amp?
No.
Oh, okay, folks, he doesn't use an amp. Look, he doesn't use an amp and likes VS, huh?
Man, I think that I'm in favor of technology. I think things are increasingly with a very high level of quality, very high conversions. And there are pedals. I've gotten rid of some. I intend not to go back to using the ones I have because the practicality, man, being able to arrive anywhere and have the same sound is priceless.
Yeah, that's the common point, right?
Not having to do a sound check because it's the same sound. The convenience, the guarantee of quality. I don't know if I can mention brands here.
You can, feel free.
I use Fractal. I have an FM3 that fits in my backpack.
Fractal. Well, there's really... Those who have Fractal say the sound size is absurd.
It's absurd. When I made the transition, I went to check. I researched all of them. Everything is very high level. But there was something about Fractal that caught my attention. I felt it was closer, you know? The sound is more at hand. Right, man?
They say it's more complex to handle, right?
Man, I can only manage it through the software, and even then. If there's a problem here or there, it really is complicated. Yeah, and since I don't handle it, it's something that every day you're doing it, you end up not having that much skill, right, man? So it has to be done calmly in the studio if you need to make any changes, especially because you can better visualize the screen there, the effects, and so on. But I'm completely in love. I don't intend to change. I'm not going back.
So what about you with the Fractal? Let's see, how long have you been using it?
Since 2022, since the beginning of Louisa's own tour.
It's not been long, right? And did you master it quickly? Or did you spend some time struggle a bit with it?
Man, very quickly. Because that's why I say the level is already very high. Like, if you take one of their presets, it's like, man, it already convinces you. Of course, there's a sound I like. There are things I like. You need to tone it for the artist you're playing for the style of music you're playing, and also with your own personality. Anyway, endless bay of variables, right? But the quality of conversion, that's the big trick, right?
You've never done a capture or anything. You've always used theirs. But this thing about doing a capture is funny. You can do a capture, but the guys have already used the best microphones, tested it there. A year testing there. Why would you do a capture at home?
And one important thing, folks, it's just an opinion, right? From everything we've experienced and are experiencing, and it's all good. This isn't decisive for anything right or wrong. I think everyone should do what is most comfortable, what they like, what is enjoyable too. Anyway, I got along really well. I get along really well. And I find it very difficult for us to take this step back. Because for me, it would be a step back. Because what we gain in practicality at the level of quality of delivery, of maintaining the level, because every time it will be the same sound. You help the team that works with you. You make everyone's job easier. It's less weight. The artist, the contractor, depending on how it was negotiated, the show fee will be less because there will be fewer things to bring. Look at how many things this influences when you start adapting to modernities. You have to think about the whole, you have to consider the entirety of the work. So it's me, the type of sound you play too, right, man? The type of sound you play too, exactly.
Because you're there in the role of a sideman, right? It's not just the instrumental gig where you want to feel the band engaging and every nuance there, man. It's important because sometimes in another environment, playing with the amplifier will bring you a different vibe, right? So you're there as a sideman who will be dealing with a different setup for each show. You might face the hassle of the amplifier arriving with a bad speaker, or sometimes the amp you like arrives modified, because sometimes that happens, right? Man, it's the amp I requested, but it sounds strange. What happened here? What's inside there? Nobody knows, right, my friend?
Totally. And in the studio itself, there's no amp. Everything is virtual. Because I'm producing the music. Man, I recorded it, but I wanted to change the guitar timing. I think this drive didn't fit. This effect didn't fit. There won't be any more drive. I'll do something else. Anyway, obviously, depending on what it is, you have to record again because the playing changes according to the need where you want to go with it. But man, there's too much drive. There's too little drive. It's not this, dude, you change.
But are you talking with the fractal?
No, I have other plugins.
So let's go. Let's wrap up this topic about the show, because I also want to talk about the plugins, which I find interesting. You brought up an interesting point. So it's just the fractal and the guitar.
And the guitar,
Okay, what do you normally...
I also use a Molly IT in the Aftermont and All Air.
Why don't you use his... That only has volume, the pedal?
No, it doesn't have, right? Doesn't it have? It doesn't have, the FM3 doesn't have. The brand has it, but I think you have to buy it separately and such. So you can choose that expression, right? You choose that expression, isn't it?
There it's just the stools, really. And normally, what do you choose for the amplifier there in the equalizations? You have several options there.
Wow, there are several options, but what I'm using. For cleans, I'm with Twin. And for drives, I'm using Marshall in Plex. Because I worked on a Van Halen preset, actually. I took it and tweaked it a bit, but because the sound was so amazing, I said, wow, man. This here I like. This is where I would try to get, but here it's going a bit over. So I was correcting it according to what I needed. So, on top of that, I copied this preset and worked on the preset.
I see. So Twin is your preference for...
I say this very calmly. And the Twin was from scratch.
From scratch?
From scratch.
Effect. What do you use, man, throughout the whole show? What effects are you using?
I only have 4. I have this same clean, just with a bit of reverb. This clean with a delay.
Okay.
This drive preset without delay. Another with a bit more gain with delay. For solo,
You don't use chorus?
no, not even for this show.
Do nothing?
No.
A little rotary?
Nothing. It's possible. Nothing.
You don't use any little compressor?
Nothing. Pure. Simple.
Today, people will be disappointed.
Man, you're using the fractal. You're not exploring everything the fractal has. Dude, but it's crazy because the sound, no, it has to suit you. I'm just kidding. It has to suit, I know. But it's very interesting because when you just pick it up and play, like for me, it works that way, right? For me, it worked that way and continues to work. It's there. You can. Whoever wants to check it out, just do a search. You'll understand the sound that comes out. Like, it's already ready.
And no reverb?
No, because then a little reverb on them, right? But like, man, it's very simple. It's like nothing. The amps, drive, and that's it. Then I just gain. And the delay there to take a look, obviously, and that's it. And I use the wah-wah a lot, like practically 90% of the show. All the riffs are created. All the performances are created with this wah-wah, something that I also brought to the project.
But do you use the wah-wah by controlling it or sometimes just open?
Man, it goes sometimes as a tone itself, like
The tone? It's more like a filter, right?
a filter indeed. So, and the speed at which you move it, right?
So you use it to have the wah-wah effect, but also sometimes to get that money for nothing sound from Dire Straits.
Yes, I use it all the time, and it's always here. And it's that pedal that, how do you say? I forgot the name. Dynamic? Yes. Dynamic, right? Truly dynamic.
You're using the Tremont one, right?
Once you step on it, it's going
You use the Morley from Tremont,
from Tremont.
which is the same as the
Bad Horse.
Bad Horse from Steve Vai.
Yes.
So it doesn't have a potentiometer. See? It's optical. So once you put your foot on it, it's already active. And then after a while, when you take your foot off, it turns off.
It also has a little 10 dB boost, which is delightful. That pedal of his is really cool. Man, you're crazy. I say it's like a crocodile. You step on it. Man, it's awesome.
Just the fact that you don't have to turn it on with a switch, like the Vox and the Dunlop, you just put your foot on it and it's already on. Put a picture of it up, Myth, for everyone to see.
Look up this pedal.
How much does a pedal cost?
Don't know, about $1.5 grand.
$1.5 grand? But it's worth it. It's an excellent pedal.
Thor from Malta introduced me to this pedal. When I went to his house, He was my friend from heaven. I need that.
Before and after this pedal.
It completely changed the concept. And its tone is beautiful. Very much. It's really amazing. And it's not talked about much, you know. This pedal.
Unfortunately,
It's not talked about much. And has the fractal ever failed? Zero.
it's because we have a friend here whose device failed. It was Leandro Esteves.
Didn't fail.
Yeah, it never failed, no.
Actually, to say it didn't fail, it burned out once, but because of power issues. It burned out? Yeah. There was a power leak at a show. They plugged it in, but then the output burned out. And then, did you quickly replace it? Or did you have to go home? No, but I was doing 14 shows a month. How was I going to replace it? I was using the headphone output of the pedal board to do the show. It worked a lot. It was great. And then when there was but at the moment, it really made my heart sink. I waited about 3 or 4 months before sending it for repair, but it was fixed quickly. The service was excellent, top notch. Right there in São Paulo, right? São Paulo in the